There we go.
Motherfucker.
YouTube,
That
hello.
didn't sound like you.
I know I was throwing my voice like a true ventriloquist. Right. Oh, I want to do something else as well before we get going. Look at this YouTube technical. Right, lovely. We're good to go.
Oh, got towel for
Okay.
head.
Towel for head. It is warm. It is very warm. I've got a drip tray for my gooch. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? Let's do this.
Yeah.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Doctor Who and Music podcast, Progtor Who. I'm your host, Bob, and on this podcast, we are reviewing the Tom Baker solo story, The Deadly Assassin, and playing some random songs along the way. But before we dematerialize into this podcast, I'm going to go around this virtual table and gather our co-hosts' first thoughts on this story. So, Craig, come to you first. Give me your first thoughts on this. When did you first watch it? What's your vibe on it? Has your feelings changed over the years? But very briefly, if you could please furnish me with this information, Craig.
I can't remember the first time I watched it. I'm going to kind of assume I saw it live, but I have no recollection of it whatsoever. So I'm going to go off the first time that I watched it on video release, and it still remains my thoughts to this day. I know it's held as a classic, but it really isn't a classic to me. I like episode 1, episode 4. I wish episode 3 had never been recorded. And as for episode 2, it's really a bit mixed. I don't like this story particularly.
You don't like it. You don't like your Doctor Who dark, though, do you? You don't
No,
like it.
It's not. I don't like it dark. I just find it really. I find it dull. That's what it is.
Wow.
I find it dull, really dull.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know it's
Wow.
controversial, but yeah, I don't.
No, that's good, because I thought I had a feeling that there would be maybe you out of all of us that would be a bit negative about it. Because it is pretty loved, so that's good. It's going to cause opinion. Suki, how about you?
No, I do love this story. I've watched this a number of times over the years, and I've really enjoyed it all the way through. So,
sorry, Suki. Sorry, I was just learning.
Hold on, I can't hear.
I've got to do a podcast in French, so I was just learning the relevant swear words for it. What's he doing?
Suki, will you show your balls again?
You put your sweaty balls. So I do apologise for my rudeness there, Suki. Please carry on. Give us your first thoughts on the Deadly Assassin, please.
No, but what the hell was you doing though? Just explain it to me.
I was learning some French. I'm doing a French podcast, and I was learning the most important words. So,
what was the most important French words?
Putain, fuck, and then merde, shit. And then that's all I need to know, pretty much, for my whole vocabulary for the French podcast.
Okay. All right. Got you.
Deadly Assassin, Suki.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, wow.
I'm really scraping the barrel now with that gag.
No, it's a brilliant story. I've loved it ever since I first watched it on a VHS copy, and I've loved it ever since then. It's nice seeing the strange the strange way this story was told, as it was companionless, right? The Doctor was all by himself. It was just lovely seeing the Master back, and he was a truly evil Master, which was around killing things. That surreal third episode is a bit of a delight. The way things happen within it, with the Doctor being chased, and you don't know if he's going to survive, because he could have been killed within there in that Matrix, or the whole Matrix thing, and it might still survive, but he could have been killed within that. And to find out that the Master still survived right at the end, spoiler alert for everybody, was
whoa, Suki.
Fucking
yeah. So in other words, I love this story, and I don't care if I spoiled it for everybody.
I'm gonna say, if you've not watched the episode from 1976, whatever it is, it's fucking hell. Brilliant. So positive. John.
Yep, I quite enjoyed it. I thought the plot was surprisingly complex, and there were some surprisingly deep discussions about the nature of power and all those sorts of things, and the abuse of power. And when you get into, especially that guy, when you get into power, to change the rules so you can't get somebody challenging you and all that sort of stuff. So I thought there was a surprising amount in it. I thought it dipped a while. It didn't maintain 100%, 100 mile an hour all the way, but there was some great stuff in it, and I ended up watching for just entranced by it and proper enjoyed the overall thing.
Amazing. Thanks, John. Yeah, because it's your first experience of it, and it is quite a different Doctor Who, in a way. So that's cool, positive. Cliff.
I love this episode. I love it. I love this story. It was one of the ones I had on VHS for years, so I had to obviously. When you're back in them days, you watch it again and again. So I've seen it multiple times. But this is probably the first time I've seen it for 20 years. But
Wow.
it brought everything back when I was watching it. Because I was like, "Oh, this is so good!" And I really, yeah, there's little bits where it does dip in the third one. But after watching it for so long, and I think watching it for John's sake for the first time, him appreciating it as well. I love it. I like the way that it was written just for him because he says, I want to do one on my own. And it fit perfectly. The characters was really well developed as well.
Yeah, it was cool. Excellent. So positive from you, Cliff. Yep. I absolutely love this. It is very un-Doctor Who, but massively Doctor Who. It's a really strange one. I remember watching it for the first time and it just being very, very, very striking. And also, like, the first time we really properly got to Gallifrey and saw some Time Lord stuff. And I just remember at the time it freaked me out that I couldn't get my head around it was the Master, because it was very different from the Master the scene before in Anthony Ainley and Roger Delgado. But fucking hell, I love this. I've seen it loads of times. And do you know what? I forgot he had it. I didn't realize it was on. I forgot he had the season 14 Blu-ray as well. So that was a nice bonus as well. So yeah. So it's going to be fairly positive. I always like it when Craig doesn't like something because he gets really grumpy. It's amazing. Right, before we crack on, it's time for our first song. So we haven't got many left now on the D20 roll. Pretty much Craig's. Craig, Shep, and I've got one in the mix as well. So I'm just going to roll this D20 now. I'm doing it digitally on D&D Beyond. Progtor is not sponsored by D&D Beyond. I wish it was because we get free stuff. So 15. Let's have a look. Rounding up and down. It is Craig. With Jimmy Somerville, Some Wonder.
Right, I'm off.
It's a good song. It's cracking.
Craig's song. There we go.
It's a good tune.
Cheers.
Cool. Yeah, we all right?
Excellent. Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
YouTubers, yo.
Sweating.
Are we actually on YouTube then, right now?
Yeah.
Not right now. Well, yeah, right now. If you watch
we ain't doing a live
right now.
We ain't doing a live one.
No, if someone's watching it right now, we are on YouTube right in front of them.
Yeah.
So Suky will get his dick out, he's promised later, YouTubers.
Yeah.
No, only after you do, Bob.
Only after Craig gets his top off.
Told you I'll do it anytime.
He will as well.
Yeah, but we've tried you a number of times and you've not done it.
He will. He works. He works in that body, doesn't he?
I do work in that body.
Have you got your fact file ready, Craig?
I have, but I'm really pissed off because I can't find I've got my fact file on here, but I can't find my notes from the actual video or the Blu-ray, so I'm really pissed off with myself. But anyway,
Craig, how come you've not got hairy shoulders? I thought everyone had hairy shoulders.
I'm not a bear. I shave everything.
It's just me.
Everything. I shave everything.
Everything. Like 12-year-old down there. That's wrong.
I'm so glad I missed that one.
Yeah. There you go, YouTube. You've heard it here first. Right. Before we descend into anything that may get you. In fact, it's going to get you arrested, Craig. So that's absolutely fine. Let's get back into this. Someone to Jimmy Somerville. Right, cool. And that was a damn fine choice from Craig there. Fantastic. It was Jimmy Somerville with Some Wonder. You're listening to Progtor Who. We're reviewing the Tom Baker story, The Deadly Assassin. Craig, before we get into this review real deep, I want to come to you for the fact file.
Absolutely. As I've already mentioned, this was Tom Baker's solo adventure. In fact, it was the first one that had no companion in it. It was the third serial of the 14th season, shown from the 30th of October to the 20th of November 1976. Obviously had Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor. Peter Pratt made his debut as the Master. It's kind of the first time they brought him back, obviously, since Delgado had gone. They wanted to deliberately leave it as a branch they could open up as a new character. Angus McKay as Barusa. And Barusa. And as I said it, I thought that's not quite right, but I always pronounce something wrong. It was written by Robert Holmes, directed by David Maloney, and it was produced by Philip Hinchcliffe.
Who? Philip Hinchcliffe.
Philip Hinchcliffe. Come
How
on.
many rockers have you had already?
He doesn't like the series, so he ain't really studied up on it, does he?
Just a cup of tea.
I do love the fact that you, Bob, are pointing out saying names wrong to somebody else.
Yeah, I don't do it on Doctor Who. I don't do it on other podcasts. I'm quite good on Doctor Who. It's like my only thing that I know about a little
Your
bit.
superpower.
I don't do the Hand of Fear, and then followed by Face of Evil, which is quite good because it's got that little dark controversy in it with the Doctor obviously firing a dart in this one and then complaining about it in the Face of Evil. Did really well on its viewing figures: 11.8, 12.1, 13, and 11.8. I mean, the most famous thing about facts on this is it was a massive change for Doctor Who because obviously the big complaints that came in from Mary Whitehouse and the moral majority type stuff, which then led to them having to redirect where Doctor Who went. But I'm sure we'll come across all that type of stuff later on. So the key question, though, gents, is, of course, where did it come in the Doctor Who poll of polls, Doctor Who magazine poll of polls? Now, just for John's benefit, because I know John struggles to remember this, there are actually 241 stories here, John. Where do we where do we think it came in that? So I'm going to go to Bob first because he's so in love with the story.
I think 17. I'm going to put it up high.
17.
We're talking that high, are we?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go high.
Cliff?
See, I thought it was, my initial thought straight away in my little noggin of my head was 12.
Right.
And then I thought, no, there's other stuff better than that. But you know what? I'll go for that.
12. Okay,
12,
right.
wow.
Suki?
My initial thought was going to be 20,
Right.
and I think I'll stick with her.
Okay, 20 from Suki. And John, finally, just out of 241 to remind you.
There is a way of working out whether somebody's too young for you in a relationship, and that's half your age plus 7. So I'm going to go half my age plus 7, which is 26.
No, I thought it would have been 18, John.
I've never heard that formula. Is that an official formula?
I don't know. It's one I've always kept to.
2025. Well, Craig fucking hasn't. He's got like
Yeah.
a quarter of his age minus 4.
Where does that leave all the 16-year-old boys? Yeah, I know.
I have a reputation to maintain.
Yeah, you do. A very
Very
naughty,
well.
naughty
Very
one.
dodgy one on D&D, yeah.
All right. Now, I'm just going to say that one of you is only one position out. So,
Fucking sucky.
absolutely right, John.
Yeah.
Cheats!
One
Cheat!
out.
Cheat!
No,
Cheat!
not a cheat.
one out.
Definitely one out. You do it on
Not a
purpose.
cheat.
I tell you what, I'm going to go to that list and I'm going to find out where it is, and I'm going to go one different just so I don't get.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Don't want to be right. That's it.
Oh, Suki, you've been called out as a cheat. How do you feel about that?
I do believe
trust you.
I have guessed it correctly. I had it in my head at 20, and I was right.
Isn't that the magazine in the background just on that pile of books? Isn't that Doctor?
I have no idea where that magazine. In fact, I think the magazine's in the other room.
I trust you like Blockbuster.
It's not pinned up on the wall over here.
I trust you, Suki, and like Blockbuster videos that fired you from trying to work there and get into their style of business. Do you see what I'm saying?
I did work for Blockbuster. Did you know that?
So
I thought you got fired.
Yeah, well, I did get fired.
Because he had
But that was because I was playing baseball in the flipping.
All right, Craig, where did it come?
It actually came 21st. I thought Bob was close to 17, but it came 21st. Well done, Suki.
Suki, well done. Right,
I
cool.
did want to say though, actually, you know, when you said Peter Pratt,
Yes.
I did when I put my initial Facebook posting up asking for feedback. I put the master as played by the wonderful Jeffrey Beavers, and nobody noticed for a fact. And then it clicked in my own head, and I thought I've got the wrong master there.
Well, thank God. Everyone's probably rolling their eyes and tutting at you, Suki. Just didn't have the energy because it's too hot to fucking.
Well, I made
off.
some
You've
mistakes.
got one job, mate.
You've got fucking one job. So have you,
one
Craig.
job, mate.
What the hell's going on here? What's going on here? I just
Anyway.
admit a little mistake, and he's ganging up on me.
It's quite significant. That's like saying the fourth Doctor's played by Peter Capaldi, isn't it? It's really out of order.
Let's make Suki swear. Let's make Suki swear.
I mean, come on, lads. Let's calm down. Let's get the love back in the room. I know it's a bit warm and everyone's getting a bit grumpy because of the gooch sweat. But,
the crap thing we just watched.
Yeah, let's get into this. So, I mean, you know, Bob Holmes' script's amazing. David Maloney, amazing. Hinchcliffe era, amazing. And it's the first time we really properly see Time Lords and Gallifrey. You don't see them as just a generic kind of, you know, thing. And the script is brilliant. It's really funny. And Tom Baker absolutely fucking goes to town in this. And the guy that plays Chancellor Goth, Suki, David
Dance
Horsfell.
for Goth was
Very
Bernard
famous, yeah.
Who? Bernard
Bernard
Horsfell.
Horsefall.
Yeah.
Amazing. Them two
Not-
together, it's like the couple of the proper awesome actors.
I thought it was Jeffrey Beavers.
No,
Jeffrey
that was the
Beavers.
master.
It was
Fucking
Pete
no,
You're a
Brothers.
swine.
Craig-
You're a
Craig was
swine, Craig.
Craig,
You're a swine.
Craig was taking the
Sorry.
piss out of you. If you get
I-
something
I-
wrong, Suki, how do you
I
feel
know,
about that? Bad, isn't it?
I've just called him out. I've actually used a swear word against him. He's a swine.
But yeah, so from that point of view, it's a massive story. The fact that we're getting all this Time Lord material, and Tom Baker I can't believe they let him have one. Well, I suppose you've got to get it out your system, haven't you? So you let your kids go off and you sort of say, I want to fucking play with fire. You let them play with fire once and they don't do it again, and that's kind of what they did with Tom Baker. Philip Hinchcliffe went, go on then, Tom, let's have a look at this solo effort. And he sort of realised that you can't do it solo, really. Bless him and his massive, awesome ego. But I think for this story, it worked incredibly well. I just love it. I just love it. I love it so different. I love it so serious as well. But yeah, you've got them little glimmers of Bob Holmes comedy coming through with daft little partnerships as well, like them bumbling old Time Lords who are getting changed and Runcible and all that kind of thing. Anyway, Suki, you've got your hand up possibly.
Yeah, it was. It's just that the scenes where Tom is actually talking to himself, they do stand out. They are a bit jarring within the whole story. I think it happens mainly in the first episode where he's there trying to escape the guards, but he's like talking to himself, and it does stand out. And it did. And I did know the background to why they tried the production background to this, and they tried it, and it is a bit clunky. If he had a companion there, right, or as he wanted a talking cabbage, right, then it would have been a bit better. But because he was just talking to himself, it did stand out. But other than that, he was fantastic all the way through the story.
I think he was practicing for when he got with Lalla Ward. You know, when they're on screen, he's basically talking to himself and looking away from her. So it's, but yeah, no, it was. But he had a great cast in it to play off as well. So it was one you could get away with.
Just want to come in on that if I can.
Yeah, go on, Craig. Sorry,
I really agree with Suki. For me, it's that it kind of spoils it because it is a really great start. It's really creative and really inventive. You know, they have that kind of Star Wars rolling script bit at the beginning, which really pulls you in. But that scene in the TARDIS, anything that kind of breaks the fourth wall really jars with me. And I think once he's in it and he's got the rest of the cast to talk with, it's fine. But that first scene, you really miss the companion. And I think it just sets it off. When I watch it, it kind of makes it feel unreal and just clunky. So that's where I begin to suspend my belief in it, to be honest. So yeah, it was a bit of a... And I think they did it well as well. They could do, but again, it shows the need for that companion or something. They could have a different way, but him just talking out loud to himself was a bit poor.
No, you're right.
John, I think you're all being very unkind. It was a sort of limitation. If he was on his own, you could have had it just say nothing, but somebody would have also complained about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But in the grand scale of 4 episodes, it's barely a blip.
Yeah,
John,
it's only in the first episode when he's by himself. The rest of the time, he's got a superb supporting cast.
You also got to look at who's watching this and where they're designing it for. They're designing it for families, older people, and children. So you do need someone to talk you through certain parts of it to make you understand where he's going through. And like John said, if he was just left to silence, you'll be moaning more then, because you'll be like, "What the hell's going on?" And then we're to put more things in.
No, I'm
not thinking of the kids, Craig. Not thinking of the kids.
They're not going to care. They just needed to bring the master on faster. No, I think they did the best they could have done, but I just think it shows. You know, compare this to other times when the Doctor's been on his own. Can't think of it off the top of my head, to be honest. But it doesn't work for me. It shows the need for the companion, if anything. I think it was poor.
I mean, as soon as you get over that little bit, though, the lack of a companion is irrelevant during the whole tale. It actually works quite well.
Oh yeah, no, that first bit, because then he's in the adventure, he's got other cast to play off. Even if even if he'd maybe just been like Shirley Valentine when she talks to the wall, they could have put a little thing like that in it, where it's kind of like, go on, Suki.
Okay, sorry. Did I distract you with my Star Trek? But anyway, what I was saying is, within this whole serial itself, there is two sections where Tom Baker's Doctor is by himself, which is the first half of episode 1 when he's running around by himself, and then you got episode 3 when he's all by himself. And in that episode 3, he doesn't actually talk that much. He doesn't talk out loud. I know he's being chased, so he doesn't want to give his position away. But there's a couple of instances. Well, there's one major instance where I'm wondering what the hell he was doing, which is where he was actually, and it's only when it comes up on the info subtitles that you realise what he's doing. But when he actually gets a bamboo stick, makes it into a straw, and starts sucking the water up.
I knew he was going to do that. I didn't know
I knew he
his
was gonna do that.
subtitles.
Oh,
That
shut
was
up.
obvious.
No,
It was
I
obvious.
didn't
You're not
know.
watching Bear Grylls
It's
enough,
only
you?
now when okay, whatever.
You've never been stuck in a jungle, have you, Sucky? You've never been stuck in like some woods, so you need to survive.
No, because you've used all my jungle skills to get out of that sort of situation.
Talking of episode 3, because I know you sort of knocked it a little bit there, Craig. I think it's tremendous. The because obviously they've gone to a quarry and they've really gone to town with aeroplanes and explosions. And I know they filmed the aeroplanes in a separate place and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's tremendous. Tremendous action, Doctor Who.
The aeroplane bit reminded me of Northwest Passage, a Hitchcock film.
Right.
Yeah.
Where Cary Grant is getting chased by a
It
biplane.
comes down behind him.
And also, I wanted to point out that he's been hunted. He is the quarry in a quarry. How fucking meta is that? That's great.
John.
He's gone beyond it. He's gone beyond it. It's brilliant. I loved the third one, but I also love right at the end of the second one, they lead you up to it by they showing you that you're going into the Matrix, don't they? And then as soon as he's in, you've got a crocodile straight away. You've got the samurai guy, and you've got the mad professor, like scientist with the big syringe. It's really quite haunting. They could have carried on that madness a little bit more, but then when they moved over to walking around someone's backyard, round in a circle, that little bit just seemed to be a bit overstretched for me. It works well. I love it. But I'm just nitpicking at the.
I did write at that point what you mentioned about wandering around the backyard. I did mention that this shit is going on too long. Is what I did say, and that felt like this. The rest of it made sense. There was a lot going on, but you could feel that little bit was stretched.
Yeah, definitely.
For some certain amount of time.
The madness bit that Cliff's going on about, it's sort of explained within the story as well. When the Doctor realizes what's going on, he's then trying to assert his authority. So over the Matrix, so it doesn't. So all these madness things sort of fade into the background, and he has something going on. Go on, John.
I know because I watched it, Suki.
Okay. Well, is this going to be just pick on Suki Day today?
No, sorry.
We have a good Suki's opinion.
The question I was
going
to ask.
Giggling at me. I'm just going to carry on talking now.
Legitimately, the question I was going to ask is those World War I characters that were there. Now we've seen something like that in New Who. Is that linked or is that deliberately
We've
done
also
that
seen
way?
it in Genesis of the Daleks. We've seen it as well, but in New Who as well. Yeah, when they go back to Skaro, and you've got the mummy kind of thing a little bit.
And you've got and that little kid.
You've got the gas
mummy,
mask one from the New Who stuff.
Yeah.
Something quite spooky about it, particularly. I think there was a horse with one on. I always get freaked out by horses with gas masks on.
Yeah, it's that train was spooky when he clamped his leg. There's loads of
tiny
cracking
train.
That
was an embarrassingly small train.
Yeah. To be honest, he could have just pushed it off the tracks with the size of Tom. He's a double-eyed bastard. But a couple of cracking bits within that episode 3, which I know we're knocking, is tremendous fight scene. They're in and out of that water, knocking each other about. You don't get that in New Who.
You can
Pure
tell
fighting.
Bernard Horsfall's character, you can see it's not Bernard Horsfall. It's like completely a stunt double. Which if you're watching it on a tiny little tube television back in the 70s, you're never going to notice. It's because we got
I never picked that up because mostly because I figured it would probably be the Chancellor, but I wasn't sure at that point.
It was when he's got his mask off and they're sort of fighting, and you can blatantly see it's not him on a massive TV with bloody Blu-ray. You can see it then, but you won't be able to see it at the time. One thing I mentioned before I forget, and it's done my head in since I very first watched it, and it's at the end when the Eye of Harmony or whatever has protruded from its hole or whatever it is. Now, it looks like it should fold back and forth into said
Yes.
hole. Now, that hole is not big enough for it to do said action.
So
And
where's
it's
it come
always
from?
pissed me off.
It
go
might
down.
not be.
Yeah.
It might not be that. It might just be going straight down.
Yeah.
No, John, yeah, answered. No, it looked like it should. It's but no, if it goes in and
Like
down,
like a
back.
missile silo.
Yeah, I'm
kind
with
of
you
thing.
now. Yeah, it's always done my head in, and it did Benni this time. But now you put that fucking 40-year
I've improved
whatever
Doctor
it
Who
is.
for you. Nice.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, John. So
I-
that's that. Clear that
Let's
up.
come
Go on.
back to episode 3 because I know you've all been saying what's good about it, and I can see it all. But for me, episode 2 and then episode 3, it just feels really like someone has got right. Let's think of everything scary we can think of, like the gas mask and the horse and all the mist. You've got the laughing clown. You've got the injection and the medical table. You've got the spider dangling down, and let's just throw it all at the camera with no sequence, no nothing, and let's just try and scare everyone. And that to me is how it comes across. It feels really disjointed. Really, I think it's just mixed up with no major pattern running through it. I know it's all fantasy. I know it's an alternative universe.
I'd agree with you. I would agree with you, Craig. In essence, they did tried to throw some tropes at you just to signify terror without actually writing it in as much as they should have done. Maybe
it just feels too messy, the whole episode in a bit. And at which point I've just got to plug my computer in because his battery's going flat. Back in a second.
Brilliant, Craig.
what a
Brilliant.
pro.
But it
Absolute
is it is at
You'll hear
that
him making
point.
some noise now. Sorry, Cliff.
Sorry. Oh yeah, he's not put himself on mute. Oh, yeah.
Of course he hasn't. He doesn't know how to do that, Cliff. So
Sorry, Bob can do that. It's fine.
I won't do that because that'll make it funnier. You'll probably hear him cursing and trying to find stuff and shouting at Matthew.
Yeah, Matthew will be going, what
Yeah.
are you talking about?
I don't know. He doesn't talk like that. Cliff, sorry.
So
Go
what
on.
I was saying is, I understand Craig's reason for not enjoying that, but it is supposed to be Nightmare. And it is supposed to be a collection, this matrix of all different things, what was happening, and all the the people who have died and passed away, the memories and everything into one. So the beginning part of it, that's why I loved it. I thought they was going to go down the route of more like Pink Floyd in the Wall, something really trippy going on.
Yeah.
And they could have had that, and it probably would have felt a better and fuller third episode. But because it just dragged on in someone's backyard at the end, that's really
When
just
you say someone's backyard, do you mean the jungly bit, or
yeah, because you could tell they went round in a circle at one point, and I'm like,
that,
oh come on,
that was an actual jungle of some place, but not like obviously not a massive fucking jungle, obviously like a quite
was it
small
like-
jungle.
Fucking the Eden Project or whatever it is, Key Garden.
So I don't know exactly where, but it was
yeah.
somewhere. So it was actually a sort of small.
say this, it might actually be a roundabout in Warrington. It was just in the middle of it. Oh, we know.
It was a
If it
separate.
doesn't
Your
have-
background, Cliff.
If it doesn't have a load of like discarded heroin needles, it won't be.
Yeah, that's true. Or condoms
Tom
on the
Baker
tree.
comes out of a bush covered in fucking syringes. Brilliant. Right.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say the only thing that I just didn't understand about episode 3, because it's supposed to be from a Time Lord perspective. How come there was all Earth-based scenarios? Like, well, because it just didn't make. I know maybe on the production point of view, this is what we're going to use, but for a story point of view, it would have been made more sense if it had been more Time Lord based.
That's a brilliant point.
I think they missed an opportunity because there are cheap ways to do like proper insane inside a matrix kind of stuff that they could have done, but they chose to just do the standard BBC, stick it in a quarry and pay everybody very little, which I think is fine, but it was an opportunity missed.
Yeah,
they could have done a lot more with that.
Fair point. It's time for our second song. So I am going to be rolling a D20 to see what's coming out. We will be picking a new selection of 20 songs, by the way, next time because we are running out. It is a 3, and we're rounding down. So it's Sheps, Sly and the Family Stone, and Everyday People. What a tune!
Yes, nice bit of prog music.
Oh yeah, reeking of prog this month.
Really?
What are you doing, Suky?
He's trying to find him song.
No, I'm just trying to ring Mark up. right, to make sure he knows which songs I've got to pick for next song. All right.
Craig, do you want to move a bit further away from the microphone?
Excellent work, Suky. Excellent work, Suky.
Keeping him in check, aren't we?
No, I've just got some Sunday. I've just got some work news come through. That's brilliant.
Wow,
Okay,
this is being street. This is going to be on YouTube. Why don't you tell us all about it?
YouTube are buzzing right now.
Am they?
about
Why
this,
why would they be buzzing that I've got Sunday out night overtime from now on? So for a whole
What
year.
if you've got a stalker now? They know that you've got overtime, and they might come and get you, Sucky.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Come and get me away from the family.
He's only got fucking Doctor Who DVDs. He's fine. There's nothing to
They're not
love.
going to be worth much.
Yeah, nothing else. Nothing
No
else.
self-respecting burglar's going to take his DVD collection, are they?
Like
Take his beard.
there's some. You know, it could be some crazed Doctor Who fan wants Sucky real bad and his Doctor Who DVD collection. Maybe he or she, you don't know, do you?
ZZ Top wannabe, nick his beard and his DVD collection.
Could be crazy Doctor Who fan.
I'm not answering any of them.
All right, well done. That's fine because we don't care. Cool. We're going to go back into it. Right, cool. And that was Sly and the Family Stone and Everyday People. Sheps' Choice rolled on the D20. You're listening to Progtor Who and we're reviewing The Deadly Assassin. It's been going relatively well so far. Even Craig, after his negative start, has been quite fairly positive about it. But I want you to get negative, Craig. Come on, get angry with me. Get angry.
That's it. I keep going.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, great.
No,
Can't
look,
hear
don't
him.
tell him.
keep
Don't tell
going.
him.
Yeah, go on.
on.
Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, Craig. Yeah, Yep.
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
He's fucking pulled his microphone out, which is going to fuck up his recording.
This is absolutely brilliant.
Oh
This
God!
is quality TV.
What
Here
have
we
you
go.
done?
Technical issues.
What have you done, Craig? Your microphone's not working. If you go, oh no! If you go on you unplugged it. If you go on your mute,
Can you
the little
actually hear
arrow
us?
on your mute, select
Can-
microphone USB. Oh, just unplug it. Plug it and unplug it, Craig.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right. I'll press stop, should I? And then restart it.
No. Hang on. Go. Is your Audacity still recording?
No, it's not.
Yeah. So
I'll-
just press record. It was probably when you plugged in your
it's
laptop.
recording. Yeah, it's
Is
going
it still,
again.
is it continuing to record? It's not just started again.
No, it started at 27.5. It's just carried on.
27.5.
Yeah, you'll see it just moved across. There's a few seconds I wasn't speaking because I wasn't chatting anyway.
Yeah.
That's fine.
27.
Right.
Yeah, cool. That's all right. So I'll be able to work with that, Craig. Lovely. So we're back in the room.
Craig Stimson, where video editors go to die.
Right, I can't. Well, you asked me to get more negative. It's episode 3 that I really don't like. That's what puts me off. I like it. I always think I hate the entire thing, which is why I don't ever really watch it. I love episode 1, apart from that little bit at the beginning. I love episode 4 and episode 2. It's a really strong political thriller, and I love all the connections to JFK and the assassination that went there. I think it's actually a really deep story. The minute they go to the Matrix, I absolutely hate it. I really, really, really dislike it. And it feels like it's meant to be scary, but it's not. It's just cheap and stupid. So it switches me off. That's the reason I don't like it.
If you don't, unfortunately, you don't remember watching this at the time.
No.
Because you would have been very young, Craig, obviously, very young.
I'd have been 5.
Exactly, but I wish you're 5, because I mean, if I had seen this when I was sort of 5 or 6, I think it would have a sort of vivid and haunting memory on me for all the bits to put in, and that's what they were trying to achieve, was the massive scare factor for the children. And I think, I mean, as a sort of youngster, probably pre-teen, don't get excited, Craig, that I would, I remember this quite vividly, and I was quite scared at the time when I first watched it on VHS. So.
But
I imagine for a smaller child, it would have been.
But it's
horrendous.
not scary, because what they do is they just throw that laughing clown in the mirror for 2 seconds. They just have the man inject me for 2 seconds. There's no threat. They're just in and they're gone.
But for a kid, that stuff might be. But for the rest of us, the meat of it, the stuff that we enjoy, is the complicated is the
Yeah.
plot.
Oh no,
There's all this politics and stuff because that is an intricate bit of work.
Yeah.
That the kid's not going to get, so the kid can just watch
You've got to think about at the time as well in the 70s. You've got a massive change in films and dark cultural of coming out of Hollywood just due to the fact that everyone jumping on conspiracy theories like Watergate, and you can see the elements of that within the story. That's all in there, and so it's capitalizing on people's headspace at that moment. So it appeals to the parents, and like Bob was saying, they put all this other stuff in because they need to appeal for the children as well. Well, I think it works quite well.
I have to say thank you to Suky for that, actually, because when I was watching this, I was watching the info text at the same time, which you've always talked about. And I was doing that just to kind of, because I kind of know this story and I've got a really deep feeling of what my thoughts are. I wanted to see it from a different perspective. And actually, it made me appreciate episode 1 and 2 completely differently, because I'd never really seen all the JFK stuff and the I knew it was a political thriller, but I'd never seen the parallels to the time.
Jeff who?
Jeff who?
Jeff K. All right.
Jeff
What is it? Pick on us, I'm joining with you, Suky. We're just being picked on completely.
I just don't get it.
And they're right. It's only jealous because I was singing your praises and not it.
I was just confused as to what you were saying. So you don't need to pick on me.
It's only because I'm Lancashire. So I really did enjoy that. But the other thing, okay, if I'm being critical about it, the other thing that I really, really, really dislike is, as a kid, you got the Time Lords set out to be so fantastic, and the Doctor's your example of the Time Lords, and how long they come, and it's just, I don't like the way they're portrayed as a society in here. They're bumbling, they're ill-conceived, all the they look great, their outfits, but it's just full of gobbledygook. As a Time Lord structure, it's nonsense. There we go.
I would suggest that every society is bumbling and otherwise shit at times, and to expect
the Daleks aren't.
To expect the I'm going to ignore that fucking dig back, but the Dalek, not the Daleks. It's the fucking. You made me lose my fucking thread.
Get in.
You say the Daleks aren't bumbling. What about that? Is it the evil of the Daleks or whatever, or which there's one where they're just like and they're really shit. I think it's the Chase actually, where they tried to do comedy Daleks. And they are bumbling Daleks.
I remembered my point. You might be putting the Time Lords on a pedestal because of how you feel about Doctor Who, and their expectation is that they're supreme beings otherwise. But when mixed together with the Doctor, they're just like every other people.
Yeah, but they're not, are they? They're kind of.
But they are. But they have more power. But they are still.
It's like
flawed.
It's like seeing the deans at Oxford or Cambridge, and it's like, it's not how I perceive. Well, you're right, actually. It's not how I perceive Time Lord society. Go on, Suky. You might what you say.
No, I was just going to say, when you get to in any society, most of the people that are at the top are going to be old and doddery and stuff like that because they've got there and the experience, and they're the people that are going to be elected to these sort of positions, and that's what's happened within this society. You've got these because our previous thoughts about the Time Lords before this story was that they were all powerful. They were just able to do anything, put the Doctor on trial and just put him away and just basically be all controlling society. This story delves deeper into it, and then they find out that they're actually just like the rest of us, basically.
That demystifies them. That's what weakens them. They should.
Power corrupts everybody, even the most powerful people, especially the most powerful people, and that's just had to be underlined. If they'd have been so perfect and all that, then there is no conflict.
Do you see? I just wish they'd got rid of all this kind of stuff, the orders and the chapters. For me, Doctor Who would have been better if they'd not introduced all this element. I love the Time Lords. I preferred them how they were portrayed in Troughton. And I like how they've been portrayed since they came back with David Tennant. But in this story, it just had so many layers. And I don't find it. I can't buy into it, I think is what it is. It just seems too, it goes against everything I like.
The world building is too much, is it? Go on, Cliff, sorry.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think you also have to say, about the Time Lords being, because of the Troughton area and all that, and they come more like godlike, don't they?
Yeah.
And they've got these like super beings. But then you look at Doctor Who. He's jovial. He can have a laugh with him. He gets angry. He makes mistakes. He makes mistakes, and therefore he's not going to be a singleton portraying of all the Galfians. So all of them will have good mates. Like I thought that when he did the TV guy, Runcible. I thought it was really well written, and the fact that they have their own TV program in Gallifrey, I thought,
TV.
wow, I've never seen that. That's brilliant. And I was when I was watching it, I was enjoying the different characters. Yeah, you've got some like Dad's Army ones, like Engrin, which looks like a bloody foreskin talking. And,
and then brilliant. He's so cute.
Foreskin.
Chitties.
I'm so
Bloody
confused.
Bloody foreskin. Anyway, sorry, Cliff. Cliff is making a really good, valid, serious point, and he gets Progtor Who.
I can't help it. I have to drop something in. And then Spandra as well. At the beginning, episode 1, he felt really wooden, but the fact that he adapted himself and see things from the other side gave it more like Hercule Poirot, because he wanted to look for the actual answer and therefore accompany the Doctor. So you have to look at the Time Lords as Doctor Who, and we're seeing him funny, laugh, and young, and that's them.
But I don't think they do that. I think when I watch it, I just see almost like this elite, complete elite, and the language they use is so elaborate code. It's so flamboyant. It's so middle class, elite class. It just seems like the Tory Party conference. Beyond that, it's too.
But that's exactly what it is. It's government. It's high society. It's whatever, and that's why the Doctor doesn't quite fit. The Doctor is part of this high society, but he'd rather go out into the wilds with the Shibugans or Shibogans, however you want to pronounce it. Do you know what I mean? He likes to go out with the lower classes. But it's completely a representation of the elite. That's what the Time Lord Society is, because they put themselves above everything else, and comes with, like John was touching on, with great power comes great corruption. And to have all this power and then still want more, like the Master, it's quite, I think it's brilliantly done. Yeah, the Chancellor as well. I think it's brilliantly done. And that's when this is when the Time Lords. So you go back to then you go on to the 5 Doctors or the Invasion of Time. I know the Invasion of Time is a bit different, but the 5 Doctors, you've got Barusa at that point, who's looking for the corruption of power. He's the one that wants more. You always want more, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you are super powerful, where do you go from there? And I think they're represented brilliantly, the Time Lord Society, and this is where we get to see real Time Lords. Whether you like them or not, it's a good representation of a powerful elite, I think.
Also, it was the first time they used that costume, wasn't it? Which has been adopted all the way through now.
Yeah,
this is beautiful. I really like that costumes.
Can I just say, you've really made me rethink that. You've really just made me stop and think, okay, that is actually quite good, because that's why the Doctor left him, because they're a load of shits.
Yeah, they are a load of shit.
I've not really thought about it from that angle.
They're not. If they were perfect, why would anybody want to leave? And why would there be anything?
It's always been part of Doctor Who lore that the Doctor left because he didn't fit in with society. Yeah, and he just did what he wanted to do.
Just didn't want to conform to what the way they are structured.
Which is,
but then again, the Master didn't either. The Master didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why
he wanted evil. The Doctor wanted to go out and help people because they had the power to help people, but they couldn't. Or the Time Lords didn't allow that, and then obviously they didn't allow what the Master was doing as well. The two sides, the yin and yang kind of thing of Time Lord Society. But the Doctor is just, I don't know. I just love the fact that you can associate with him, because you would want to escape, wouldn't you? You would want to get out there and help people. And that's what the beauty of the Doctor being this quite unique and quirky superhero is. And he's a superhero, Doctor Who, to me. I think he's got, he does some brilliant stuff, and that's why it's cool, because he is a bit of a anti-establishment. He is a bit, out there, a bit of a rebel. But in a good way, whereas the Master's the complete opposite. That he's horrible, and the Master is truly gruesome and horrible in this.
Tremendous.
He's like a goggle-eyed Skeletor, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks awesome. He does look really cool. Yeah, he does look.
That would scare you as a kid.
Oh yeah,
it's super scary.
I think people forget this portrayal of the Master. They kind of jump from Roger Delgado right through to Anthony Ainley, and they forget about this little bit in the middle.
It's like a big 4-year gap between one and the other.
Yeah.
So that's a long time. This is the first time for Tom, isn't it, for the Master?
Yeah. Because they'd advertised it, haven't they, as the Master was coming back. They built it up a bit like as in the whatever Radio Times, whatever, as a publicity for it. But obviously, no one kind of knew what the Master looked like or where he was big. And what a major change, to be honest. And I love the fact they also bring in the kind of notion that he could, by using the sash and all the rest of it, get his new regenerations and kind of in there again.
That was the bit that I thought was quite well done. Was that the Master was at his 12th reincarnation, and this is what happens to you.
Yeah.
At that point, and to have to do, I have to say, like the end of it, in fact, the whole Sacha Rassilon, all that stuff, it did skip by me a little bit. It became too much at some point.
I think
I didn't really 100%. I know what the Eye of Harmony was and what I was looking at, but the idea of having like these magical items, I thought was really good, and they utilize it in that way, and especially in the terms that they put it for the, how we would use it, and the sort of the stakes ramped right up right at the end. It was really good.
Yeah, it's cool. Suki.
I was just going to agree with John there. That last bit in episode 4, where it's like a major info dump of all these magical items and all this, this is the way it's got to be done. It just does sort of overwhelm you with the plot, and you just think, what is going on? But it's the fact
that was. Sorry, Suki, because all that was new to us as well, wasn't it? We'd never heard of the Eye of Harmony before. We'd never heard of the sash rash. But I mean, if you break it down into its basic point of view, the Master wanted the sash to protect him from going into the black hole.
Yeah.
And he did get a bit of a dump from there, but essentially that's what it was. And he needed the rod to unlock the Eye of Harmony and
free himself.
Yeah. But for us Doctor Who fans, because we've watched it now a few times, we understand what's going on.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
But for a casual viewer, the fact that everything is just being dumped there is sort of offset by the fact that it's quite a good action scene with all the music playing and all the stuff happening. Right, you just get swept in with the story. I'm
still not really convinced I know what was going on with the black hole. What was the point of the black hole?
He was harnessing the power, basically, he was destroying everything to use the power to regenerate or whatever.
Right.
I think that gets better explained in the 8th Doctor movie. I think that's
sash
together.
Yeah, the sash
it's
was
just a conduit, isn't it?
The way it was set up protected him from getting absorbed into the black hole and destroyed with everyone else.
Right, okay.
Because it had been shot, it was slightly damaged. Or that's what the Doctor tried to tell him. So it wouldn't actually protect him. I was going to say about the end scene, I found it, and this time it struck me as how small at scale it is, but how epic it feels because of the music and because of the fight scene and because of everything.
It's tremendous.
It's tense and it's the direction well paced.
It's really good sets. The
sets are awesome. Yeah,
it's got the classic old Doctor Who claustrophobic feel in the sets, but the way that it's constructed, and when they get the good hand shots of the camera coming out to see everybody at the beginning, especially from episode 1, and then obviously they're using the same set at the end as well when the Dark Crystal comes up, doesn't it? But the way it was moving, you can tell that they put a hell of a lot of money in it compared to some of the others around the time of Tom. It looks like he threw a lot at this.
Well, I think they wanted to make it work, didn't they? Because it was something novel and something experimental, and I think it was probably even a bit of a risk for them to take, a bit like when they did the Doctorless episode. So they had to kind of make it look good, and also the first time they brought the Time Lords in.
Well, Philip Hinchcliffe sort of said, this was his 3rd season or whatever. He'd done 3 seasons, and he was like, I can do what I want now, because his Doctor Who was incredibly popular.
Yeah.
The viewing figures, you just touched them earlier on, 13 million.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is just tremendous, isn't it? That's mega. I know it was different times, but so it was mega. Right, we're going to just quickly go around and get some final comments. I'll come to you first, Cliff.
Yeah, I've got a few.
Excellent. That's what we like. So we like to hear.
So the narration at the beginning.
Yes.
When the words coming up. That hadn't been done before, at least as I can remember. And I really like that as a nice introduction. It was like, sit back, you're taking you on a journey. It's something special, because it was something special. It was just Tom on his own. Go on,
it was cool.
No, I'm just going to say.
You're going to tell me back in 1962.
No. I agree with you. But the fact that they actually finish a story with maybe like another scroll or a voiceover, right, was a bit. I've always found that usually when you put something at the beginning, there's usually something at the end, and they do it. Go on.
Yeah, to bookend it. I thought it was really good. It's like take you on a separate little story, just something special. I put on here the sets, like Emerald City Green. I love the green. It really shone up, and it was a great contrast to the clothes they was wearing. Like I said, they've adopted that now all the way.
The red
through.
and the whites and the oranges of the Time Lords. And
did you also find though, which was hilarious? Episode 2, they go to the point where the president's been shot, killed, and it's got the chalk outline of the flaming costume.
That was so
With the
silly.
huge head and everything. I
And
thought,
just while you're on that point, Cliff, not really mentioned it, but the cliffhangers, the sort of freeze frame cliffhangers,
yeah,
that was cool as well. Because that had not really been done before. Or the slow mo cliffhangers. Cliffhangers were very good in this.
yeah, all the way through the
Cliffhangers.
Cliff.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I do a couple
Cliffhangers.
of cliffhangers sometimes.
Yeah, to change your last name, Cliff, to Hangers. Cliffhangers. Imagine that.
The
Are
cliffhanger.
we shepherding him towards a certain point there?
Oh, yeah.
Very-
Go on, cliffhangers.
Well, I'm just going to destroy that cliffhanger if I can for you, because they kind of had to cut him, didn't they, for different reasons? Like in the second one or the first one, when he falls towards the screen, they had to cut it because they really wanted the forward fall, but because of his harness, it was too. Got this in your info text.
Oh no, I was going to say.
It wasn't. They couldn't do it because of health and safety, and I found that really interesting. That's why they did the info tech. And
That
the
was
same
very early health and safety. Didn't really bother
Yeah.
that much.
and episode 3, it was actually filmed in a swimming pool in wherever, because they did do it in the wars, but it was too muddy and all the rest of it, so they had to go ahead, which is why they did it differently in that way.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know any of
wow.
that, so yeah, it was.
I love
That's
the
really
way that,
interesting.
I love the way that Craig calls the infotext Sucky's footnotes. Like
I know,
Sucky's
like
written
he's
them
put them in.
and put them
I
Call them
deliberately.
cheat notes. Cheat notes.
How much did the BBC pay for that, Suki?
Oh, not enough.
I love also that you don't have to copy them out word by word now, Sucky, and pretend you've got these massive book of notes.
It's so hard,
Craig. Craig will tell
Well, I'm
you.
right. I'm thinking, yes, Suki, I've got you now.
Craig, I've just got to pull you up. You actually missed one of them about one of the cliffhangers.
I've got which one?
Right, you weren't reading it properly by the sound of
Well, I've not got my
Right.
notes in front of me, so I'm doing it from memory from a few days ago.
it. Episode 2, they actually they had to take some stuff out of part 3 and put it into episode 2, and
Keep
that's
it
why there's
short.
a different.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been all filmed for that episode 3, but they used
Oh,
some of the
episode 3.
And then I've got a few more things. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Cliff. No,
So
no.
I've got the roving reporter. Love how campy he is. He gives a really good comedic
Oh, he's amazing.
for of it. The other thing is, I don't know if you've seen it or read it, but I don't know if you read the book by Stephen King, Dead Zone.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And Stephen King's a big fan of Doctor Who, and there's a very similar line to the assassination piece. The fact that it was, it just felt to me like he could have watched this because the actual book came out in '79. This was '76. Don't know. Couple of other things was the TARDIS, the use of the
wooden TARDIS.
The wooden TARDIS.
Yeah, I love
Don't
the
really
wooden
see that
TARDIS.
enough. I really like that.
Love it. Yeah, I love it.
Episode 2. Sorry. The Two Dads Army, Spangill and Engrim. Brilliant together.
Yeah,
I thought it was really
I love
good.
it. Yeah.
The entering of the Mates, the rubber spider, bit of a letdown.
Oh, but they had other things.
I thought
Rubber
he didn't even
and the
need it.
crocodile.
I thought it was a bit silly.
Yeah.
Crocodile I could take, but I thought the spider, that's a bit silly, that one. Oh, and Tom falling off the cliff.
That was
And
a
his
dummy,
legs
wasn't it?
are all over the place like this. And he's falling.
I mean, you could at least have Tom properly falling to make it more
He
realistic.
could have fell. He's
Yeah.
built
Took
like
it
a
for
great
the
shit house. He's
Yeah.
strong as fuck him. He's all right.
Yeah.
Runcible's death. It was really dramatic. You know, when he showed a spear in the back, in
Yeah.
his back,
He's
and he
back,
fell.
yeah, he's on the floor.
Why didn't they
it
show a
was.
regeneration?
Oh, that's good thinking.
I thought,
'Cause
you know what I
if-
mean? Everyone's like, oh, worried about his death. He'll come back. Don't worry about it. I mean, he'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah,
But
true.
if you've actually been killed, you can't regenerate. I think, right? If you're just on the point of death, then you regenerate. And he
you
must
got-
have been
if you-
killed.
if you- If you're dead, you're dead.
Oh, right. So they need suck in on a bit more breath. That's what you
Yeah.
need to do.
Unless you're Sylvester McCoy into Paul McGann, and then you get some weird tubes inside you, and it all
Yeah.
goes weird.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that because
They just
yeah,
make
he was
it up
one
as
of
they
the
go
good
along.
characters.
Or maybe not all Gallifreyans are Time Lords, which is the other thing that
That
they
is
have
a-
been saying.
That's
over
a
the
good
years.
one. Yeah, that's a good one. I didn't think of that. And that's the end of my notes.
Lovely, thank you.
And
very
obviously
much.
the massive connection to the 70s Watergate conspiracy and all that. You could feel
Yeah,
that all the way through.
Watergate, I would say Manchurian candidate as well.
Yeah.
Mancunian candidate.
Monkey.
Different one, yeah.
That's me.
John, have you got any more notes you would like to furnish us with, please?
I've got a bunch. Castellans, Chancellors. What was the other one? There's an awful lot of titles that began
Cardinal.
with C. Cardinal.
Yeah.
It was slightly confusing to an amateur like me. The part of it that was the most well done, I thought, in the whole thing was the use of like a constitutional crisis means we'll have to find him guilty just to make the people happy. And it's a standard of like politics that it's for the public good. We have to make sure that it looks like that.
Yeah.
And the amount of
Still happens
ignoble
today,
acts, the amount of, the amount of ignoble acts that happen because, well, for instance, the Chancellor, wants to change the law about the Article 17 after he's elected, so that's all very current.
It's very, very current.
It's politics being, and that's what the flaws of these people are. It's the power. I do really like the Doctor Who drawing caricatures during his show trial. That was good.
That was cool. Yeah.
And Runcible fainting after seeing an action man. That really confused me. But it's like the action men was shit. I have to say that was the worst thing ever. But I do like the idea of the Doctor Who going into a memory stick and in that and finding a quarry in there, like everything is.
Oh, I just remember the gas mask when they put him under. Always reminded me of the dentist. They don't use them now. Anyone
the
watching?
Dentist, they did, yeah.
Yeah, remember you used to have that dentist knock you out. You wake up with your pants down your ankles. It happens all the time.
That wasn't the dentist, Cliff.
Oh,
John, have you got any more further comments you would like to finish with, please?
Like the Cardinal saying at the end, we must adjust the truth.
Yes.
Power corrupts.
Another thing, yeah.
Under the excuse of maintaining the public confidence is just something that politicians do all the time. And it was good to see that the same flaws are apparent in a presumably longer seeded and more advanced race. The Eye of Harmony stuff, all that stuff at the end, felt tacked on to me. The story should have concluded when they solved the murder for me a little bit, but it felt like the bit at the end was tacked on. And whilst it wasn't bad, there was a lot of stuff that I think was unnecessary. And episode 3 is an interesting diversion, but it does feel like a diversion. What else have I got? That train attack, weird place. Just a weird place it was. Why did his foot happen to be exactly the right place to trap him?
Yeah. Why would you put your foot in there in the first place deliberately? It's like unless it's an accident.
And I did enjoy Runcible. I thought he was great. I thought the idea of presenting, it's not the first time they've done it, or at least not the first time I've seen them do it, where they have a reporter expositioning for, and I can't remember the episode we've done recently that had a similar.
They do it in the Demons.
It's not one we've done recently. No, it's one I've seen recently. They do the same. Article 17 was nice. I thought that was. I think that the lack of, would it have been Sarah Jane at this point?
Sarah Jane has just left.
Yeah, just left.
All right, fair enough. Well,
you want to get a bit further from away from your microphone, Craig?
I'm just relaxing while John's talking.
Cool. Well, what we hear, so John, we sound like we're talking to ourselves. That's all in the edit. So that's lovely.
And I love the master saying resistance is futile. That was a nice little thing.
Borg nicked it. Borg nicked it, didn't they? Yeah. Is that you, John?
That's me done.
Lovely. Let's go via Suky before we get to Craig.
Okay, I've got a few things, which is I do like there's a bit where they say the seldom worn robes, as Runcible is commenting on all the things that's happening around him, and he goes seldom worn robes, and the fact is, and every subsequent story after this, set in Timeless Society, they wore the same robes. I mean, I think this must have been just a one-off, ready for for this big ceremony, and the next thing you know, this is the ongoing costume for all the Timeless from now on. It's just they've just got associated with it. I do like all the guest cast basically in this story, and from George Pravda, who plays Spandrel, and Eric Chitty, who played Engin. Right, what a great double act these pair were. These pair they looked great on television. They sounded great, and they bounced off each other brilliantly, and they bounced well off the Doctor as well. So I just think getting these sort of guest casts together, it was great. And then you got Cardinal Barusa, who's played by Angus Mackay, and this is the first of his many appearances, Barusa, over the years. And they do mention towards there's a little snippet on the in the first episode, the CIA, the Celestial Intervention Agency, and now the way Barusa acts in episodes 4, where they're trying to cover everything up. I've just been wondering, was Barusa actually head of the CIA? Right, so that way he was there just manipulating things in the background as well to make sure everything was
Probably.
okay
I
within
mean,
society.
Barusa continues, doesn't he, throughout the sort of future adventures of Doctor Who, the Invasion of Time, and the Five Doctors, etc. I think he gets mentioned in New Who as well, so he's quite a big deal, Barusa, isn't he?
Yeah,
quite a big deal.
The what John and Craig were going on about with the train track, I'm just thinking, because it's a fantasy landscape, right? Goth might have just gone round and gone to be able to get him trapped. He just moved it with his mind and just trapped his foot within the track, and that's why he was stuck there. And then
Can't just let these things go, can you, Suky?
I can't. I just have to explain everything. As everybody's saying, Runcible is a great character. I mean, he's only in it for about 2 episodes before he's killed off, but he's just seemed to be a lovely, great character in that he's there for the audience to be able to react to whatever's going on. The thing is, when the Doctor and Runcible meet up again, they talk to each other as if they're old friends, but they don't quite recognise each other. But he said the fact that when he goes, "Have you had a facelift?" Right, and I thought that was a great way of showing that they've been through but the fact that Runcible still recognised him, even though they probably haven't met each other since
telepathy, kind of the Time Lord telepathy thing. I don't know, maybe, like, because they seem to have the telepathic links and things like that. I don't know.
You can't let it go, can you, Bob? You just can't let it go.
When you're just doing your job for you, Suky, well, you were doing your bit, so there you go.
The Time Lords must not be observed to be leaderless. Who was observing the Time Lords? This is a secret society.
Well, no, Time Lords aren't a secret society, are they?
The way it was seen to come to me is that we're not letting other planets, other civilizations know that they haven't actually got a leader.
It gets out, Suky. It gets out. You've got to you've got to change the news trail or whatever it is.
If the Daleks had figured out that
Time Lords are weak,
temporarily weakened, they might have attacked. So that's why you
exactly.
don't let it know.
That's it.
Exactly. Look at me and John doing your job, Suky. Have you got anything else you want to slag off for us to put right?
I love the chalk outline. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I said that already. You can't have that one.
Yeah. You can't take clips.
What the hell is going on?
I rarely get as many notes as you.
So I went to you first.
That's because I got around copying the info text.
No, I've got all that.
Yeah, and Craig's already done that. Action Man uses the shrunk. It's used twice within the serial.
Yeah.
I mean, if they'd just covered it up slightly, cover the hands up, maybe they would have got away.
I've just done something fucking better than that. That would have been better.
And I do love the cliffhangers for all 3 episodes. They're just wonderful cliffhangers. They did get the complaints, but as a child, you're probably watching this. These are the sort of things that will give you, a cause to come back to be able to watch this story, because you want to see what happens.
It worked, didn't it? With all the viewing figures increasing. So
it's a shame that when they repeated it, they kind of had to cut that cliffhanger to part 3, didn't they? They removed that out of it. So it was less gruesome when they did the kind of the hour 1 sessions.
Mary Whitehouse, bless her.
Yeah, which is a real shame.
Bitch. Carry on, Suky.
And the last bit is the grandfather clock right at the end.
Oh,
you have the face of the master
changing.
Great idea, but this is the face of the master without the sort of mask on, so he's sort of regenerating. But then a few years down the line, it hasn't seemed to have worked because he's still in the old costume. Well,
it's a different actor, isn't it? So it might be a bit of a regeneration on its way.
That the actual master costume, it's just gruesome. I just love it. I really do.
Even though it looks maybe a bit whatever, even now I think it looks quite scary. I think it's the eye. Well, obviously the rotting flesh of the eyeballs.
The only thing,
balls, isn't it? For that.
Yeah. But it looks proper, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The only thing I would love to have seen him do was actually maybe with because you got the mouth with the teeth no lips or anything. If they could have just maybe got that attached properly to the
To
chin
move.
of the
Yeah,
actor
move it, yeah.
to be actually, you could see everything
been cool.
properly. He said it just, you could know that it was whoever the actor was underneath. He's just moving the face mask that he's got on top. He's just a bit out of sorts.
I just wanted to say, and I forgot to say it in my notes because it's at the back.
Too
of my
late.
notes.
Too late. Leave it.
Oh.
It's gone now.
Bob,
Go on.
let me have a go.
Go on, Cliff, because I've got no notes, so you're fine. Take the
All
sword.
right.
Go on, Cliff.
Dead quick. Sorry, is the fact that even though before this you'd seen quite a progression in what the society is at the moment in real life, and it's always pumps that into Doctor Who, don't they? And they show like strong women and that. This program had no women in it at all in Gallifrey, which was quite shocking at the time when, especially, it's supposed to be encouraging, you know what I mean, more women into it.
Yeah, very good point,
A big
Cliff.
powerful
Very
woman
good point.
would have been good to show, especially in older stories. We've had powerful women. We had one last time.
The next one, you do have, you know, I don't know, actually, I don't think it is an Invasion Time lady.
There
type
is.
I don't
thing.
think there's a secretary type woman,
Yeah.
isn't there? It's bad.
Rodan.
But then you get like obviously Romana 1 and 2, and you know it does go a bit from there, which is great as it should be. And obviously the judge at the trial of Colin Baker, is a lady.
She's
Craig,
from Bisto.
It should have been picked up a bit more though earlier.
Yeah,
70s,
Susan was a time lady.
Well, true, exactly. It's okay. Craig, have you got anything left in your?
No, not
locker?
really. I suppose the big thing really is for me doing this podcast has really made me think about this program in a different way. It's been a bit of the last hour and 15 has been a bit of a revelation. I've never felt so engaged about the Deadly Assassin as I'm
Did you
feeling
not
right
say
now.
the same thing about War Games as well?
I
It's
did
almost
actually,
as if,
yeah.
almost as if that you need us to validate the, to tell you how to watch these things.
No, but I still stand by my episode 3. I still think episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, this points it goes a bit down.
I just don't like those. But I always did enjoy 1, 2.5, and 4. But I've accepted them at a better level. I did like the way that we mentioned that Suky mentioned, the grandfather clock, and I love the fact that that's actually hidden in is it episode 1 or episode 2, and you can just see it on the side, and it's really tucked away. And also when you kind of see Goth, you don't know if it's him or the master himself, because you've obviously got the cloak on, so you've got that unveiling as to who the servant is, and that fits in with the promotion as well. Go on, Suky.
I was just going to say the fact that they got Goth when he's talking to the master, why is he talking in that raspy voice and covering his face? Right. I understand it for the production point of view, you don't want to reveal who it is, but within the story, you wouldn't be talking to your boss in that sort of way. Just Cloak would have been under. It's just a bit weird. But anyway, go on.
Very true. Very true.
Part 3 still feels very much. I can't remember which comes first. I imagine Doctor Who came first, but it still feels very much a kind of Predator Rambo gone wrong for me. Part 3. I just think it is a
Predator Rambo. Oh, yeah, that's a good analogy, Craig.
It's how I see it when I watch it. It just does. Again, it doesn't. Yeah, I've said before it doesn't gel, but that's how I see it. It's like that gone wrong. You can see the violence in it. It is quite shocking when the Dox comes out of the bushes and he's got all the blood on him and the methane gas sets fire to Goth. I mean, there's a lot of horror in there. That's quite gruesome. Especially some of the shots they took out as well. We've obviously not seen them, but when there was more film, they cut that out and they let this go through. So it would be interesting to see where Doctor Who had gone had Mary Whitehouse not have intervened at this point and seen where it had gone. Because it is gothic, isn't it? It's really quite scary.
They had to change it. They got Graham Williams was on target. Philip and the spaceship swapped Philip Hinchcliffe to target because it's more adult oriented. And put Graham Williams in to make it a bit more daft, which he did a great job of making it more daft.
So
lovely.
I suppose they're my final thoughts, really. I love the political intrigue that John's already talked about, and I'm softening to the broader rest, but not those bits of element 3.
Lovely.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Well, it's time to see how many let's put some Cliff's hangers out of 10 on this. Right. Give me your Cliff's hangers out of 10. John, how many Cliff's hangers would you give this?
I would give this a solid 8 out of 10.
Strong 8.
My mum was visiting whilst I had to watch this and take all my notes, and she thought it was really good.
Excellent.
I asked her for a marks out of 10, but she's not fucking answered. So that's it. That's it.
Well, we'll come back to that at a later date. What John's mum gives this out of 10. Cliff, give us your cliffhangers out of 10.
8.5 out of 10.
8.5.
I really like this one. Really like
Wow.
it. It does dip a little bit. There's some, bits that doesn't go well. Could have done a lot better. But then again, I'm just nitpicking. Yeah, but 8.5 out of 10.
8.5, strong still, very strong. Cliffhangers out of 10, Craig.
I was going to give it 4. Is what I'd kind of toyed with this because I really dislike it. But that's mostly because of 1.5 episodes of it, and that's a bit unfair on the rest. And also listen to you guys and what you've said about it has made me feel warmer about it. So I'm gonna go up quite a bit actually, and I'm kind of keen to watch it again. I'll go up to 6.5 on this.
That's quite
that feels a bit high. I might have been comfier with 6, but I feel that when I watch it again and take the Doctor's view of the Time Lord, that these are all pompous arrogance, that's why I'm leaving, I might prefer it even more. So I'll go 6.5. Feels a bit alien.
Wow. Open to persuasion is Craig. 6.5. Suki, how many cliffhangers would you put on this out of 10, please?
I was going to put about 9, but I listened to it, everybody talking and how enthusiastic they've been, apart from Craig. I still think it's a bona fide classic, so I'm going to go with a good 10 out of 10.
Hey,
yeah, and I am going to join you, Suki, with a 10 out of 10 as well. This is fucking tremendous. I love this story.
Oh
It's just one of the most memorable Doctor Who's I've ever seen and ever will see. I think it's just incredible. It's a very special Doctor Who for me. So 10 out of 10 from me and Suki. Go on, Suki. Anyway, before we get on to finding out what you guys think, it's time for our third and final song. So I'm just going to roll this here D20 and see what we come up with. And we've rolled a 11 and we're rounding down. Oh, right. This is one here. So this is one of yours, Craig, but I did put a caveat into this when we started this list a few months ago. So you put down Aqua and Barbie Girl.
Bloody did.
But
Don't do it, Bob. Do not do it, Bob.
But I'm going to let the dice decide something. So it's going to be odds and evens. So an odd number, Craig, means we are going to play Aqua's Barbie Girl. An even number means we are going to play my cover version of Barbie Girl. I don't know which is worse.
Yeah, okay.
I know which is fucking worse, Bob.
So yeah, I recorded my own version of this song. So let's go odds and evens. Let's roll a D20 just for odds and evens sake. 13, it's odds. It's odds.
Whatever.
It's odd.
I'm going to roll an inspiration and change it to even.
Well, then, I'm going to take your inspiration. It's going to be an even, and this is my cover version. It's very immature. I'm just going to say that now. And my version of Barbie Girl.
Did you dress up as her as well?
Oh, it's awful. It's me.
I've played this in a band with Bob. It always happened when everyone was so pissed up. At the end of the night.
But the question I've got to ask is, why did you cover this song?
Because the lyrics are, it says, I'm a pluggy long leg slag. I've got a fanny like a carrier bag with my nylon long blonde hair, no sloppy seconds when you share. The other one, it says, what's the second of it? Oh yeah, I'm a Barbie Girl in a Barbie world. Shagging plastic is fantastic. He went, Ken said he had something to say. He said, I'm sorry, Barbie babe. I'm sorry that I have to say I'm a closet gay. I'm a Barbie Girl in my Barbie world. So basically,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't I revert my choice?
No.
I'm now terrified.
Yeah. Why don't you play Craig's version now and put yours as an Easter egg right at the end?
That's a great idea. That was a great idea. Sucky, but I've already said things.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
Put the original one at the end, then just swap it the other way around.
I'll do that.
Don't. It's Aqua. It's not fucking worth it, surely.
John, it's a cracking classic pop tune.
It's Craig's choice.
Cracking classic.
It's Craig's choice, isn't it? So
I can do some cracking moves to that in the dance. I'm right.
We'll work it out. I bet you can, Craig. Right.
I was once in Oracle on the dance floor, and I literally tried to copy what she did and remember it for every dance I ever did to it afterwards. It was obviously a bit plastic, a bit like Shitty Chat Ram Bang.
Listeners' feedback. Are we ready?
Oh yeah.
I'll put a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Holy shit, 17.
There's a lot, isn't there?
Wow. Yeah.
But it is a big staunch classic, absolutely. So this is cool. Right.
If anyone slags it off.
So when you're ready. Are you ready?
Somebody.
Yeah, ready.
Lovely. Right. Cool. And that was my version of Barbie Girl. I can only apologise. I was young and foolish. Right. We're well, you're listening to
Still
Pod
are.
2, and we have we've reviewed the Deadly Assassin, Tom Baker. And we think it's time to find out what you think in listeners' feedback. I'm going to kick off. This is from Mark. I am Mark. Mark Atkinson. Hi, chaps. So, The Deadly Assassin. It's a really wonderful story, which I remember strongly from the original transmission. The costumes and world building for Gallifrey is fabulous, and Tom Baker is at his best here. Brilliant script from Robert Holmes, and atmospheric direction from David Maloney. It's a classic and deserves a 9.5 out of 10 from me. Latest dudes.
I'm
Thanks,
just
Mark.
wondering what Mark thinks about this current episode when we've had Barbie Girl, Jimmy Somerville. Is he going to be? Is that what he wanted for his baby? Is that what he's saying?
He moderated as time went on. He changed.
Yeah, he moderated. I don't do so much that.
Can I just say that only this week have we had a message from Mark saying how good one of my choices was as music. So I think
Yes.
it's broad.
One.
What was it?
One of your choices.
Yeah.
What was
per
it?
episode.
What was it?
Even
What was it,
a
Craig?
broken
For
clock is
wandering
right
out.
twice a day.
But yeah, he did like it. He had like the one song that you put on, Craig, out of all the horrendous songs you've given us. Cliff,
All right.
you next, please.
Oh, it's a small one. Love it. My Doctor Who comfort viewing, and that's from Dan Talks Doctor Who.
Thanks, Dan Talks Doctor Who. Craig.
Aston Lord of Who. It's a historic story for many reasons, and part 3 is amazing with lots of tense moments, but I can't say it's one of my favourites. The Time Lords come across as either shits or nerds. The Master, although I like his appearance, is a stereotypical villain. 6 out of 10.
Oh, he's definitely your friend, Craig.
Absolutely.
Suki.
We have Time Lord Triumphant, and he's I'm at Time Lord Triumph. He's for classic, perfect example of the effective Gothic horror approach and essential to Doctor Who lore. It also features some of the best writing and one of Tom Baker's finest performances of the era. A great reimagining of the Master 2, a few imperfections, but overall fantastic. Cheers, dude.
Nice. John.
Mark Close at Vinyl Librarian says, "Oh man, one of my absolute all-time favorites. Groundbreaking and universe expanding in so many ways. The Matrix episode is like a nightmare sequence from a Ken Russell film. Robert Holmes is the greatest ever Who writer, and this is him at his boldest and most inventive. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Mark joining me
Mark.
and Suki there, absolutely. Paul Foiber. Sorry if I can't pronounce your name.
At Wordsmith Paul.
Wordsmith Paul on the, is it Twitter? That one, is it Twitter? Yes. The Doctor went home alone to prevent a crime, but failed and was accused. His subsequent mad manoeuvres enabled him to investigate and figure out how he was manipulated and by whom. Robert Holmes' world building was fantastic as Time Lords and Gallifrey were reimagined and saved. Thanks very much, Paul. Cliff.
I got one from Paul or at P Waring. I always say that Waring. Top 10 story for me, I think. Lack of a companion works as a one-off, but I don't think it would be good as permanent feature. Time Lord outfits are great, if utterly impractical. One thing that's painfully obvious, though, is there's no female characters. That's what I said! Boom, high five, virtual high five, Paul.
Yeah, you say that, Cliff, but we know that you read that.
I didn't. Do you see how badly I read it?
Suki does it all the time. Suki does it all the time. He looks at all the comments and then
I do.
I honestly didn't.
He does.
You can tell by Cliff's spontaneous enthusiasm that was definitely not read that before. Bless you, Cliff. Thank you.
And plus, how hard is it for me to speak and talk?
Yeah,
and read?
and
You know
read.
what I mean?
I mean, I'm proud of you every word. I'm just proud of you. The more words you say, the more words you read, I'm more prouder of you.
Sad.
Craig.
The 31st Doctor at the 31st Doctor.
51st Doctor.
51st,
5-1. Fucking
yeah,
hell. What is it with Salford people?
What did I
Do
say?
they not teach you how to read?
What did I actually say?
30.
30, did I really?
Yeah.
Oh,
The 51st Doctor.
right, okay.
Stop touching yourself up, Craig.
I was itching my belly.
What's the YouTubes?
One of the best Tom Baker stories where they brilliantly realised Gallifrey and Gothic Master. It's hard to fault. 9 out of 10.
You know what is in your tea? Sucky.
It's probably from Salford.
Salted brew, fucking magic mushrooms in a fucking couple of these. Sucky.
We've got Greg Cox, and he's at Greg R. Cox. Apart from the daft title, a non-deadly assassin would be rubbish. It clearly showed the need for a companion. I didn't like the further degradation of the Time Lords as stupid old duffers rather than all-powerful godlike beings. For me, the worst story of season 14 by far.
Epic.
Oh,
Epic. Thanks,
Greg didn't like it.
John.
Doctor Whose line is it? Says, all in all, it's hard to find a flaw in this epic story. Season 14 is astonishing from start to finish, and this is possibly the best of the bunch, scoring it 965 out of 1,000 easily. Sorry for writing a book, which I presumably ignored.
Yeah, because I think this is in the wrong order. I've sent it to
Oh,
you.
I think so. I think who put it in?
Oh, I did.
Oh, really?
Start with the third one or the last one.
Brilliant.
Right.
And then
Okay.
go
Okay.
upwards.
All right, then. Definitely in the top 10 of all of Who. Tommy's on fire throughout, and George Pravda is an excellent surrogate companion who the Doctor wins round convincingly. Stunning score by Dudley Simpson and a great cast. So many quotable lines from everyone. TBC. Oh, it comes into more. The new direction for the Time Lords, from omnipotent super beings to festering bureaucrats, was inspired. After all, with that much power, they would be mountains of admin. The second master is truly evil and motivated by hatred, which works a treat. And the costume and makeup are chilling. So much of what we know of the Doctor and the Time Lords' history comes from this. The Panopticon, the Matrix, the Eye of Harmony, Rassilon, 13 Incarnations, the Collars, the Shobogans. Incredible. Not to mention Barusa, who went on to become a semi-regular over the next 6 years. The Matrix sequence in episode 3 is unlike anything else in the show's history, and the story is better for it. The cliffhangers are all superb, especially if you're scared of small trains. And then he goes on to say, all in all, it's hard to find a flaw in this epic story. Season 14 is astonishing from start to finish, and this is possibly the best of the bunch, scoring it 965 out of 1,000 easily.
Amazing. We
Right,
got there at the end. Thanks, Miles.
Brilliant.
We've got one here from vacancies. Realignment of resource to workload weekend shifts. So if anyone wants some fucking shifts at Royal Mail, there's 5 going afternoon on a Saturday and 8 7 a.m. till 3 p.m. shift. All right. What is it? Is there an increase in salary there, Suky? Just for our listeners' feedback referencing?
No, I don't know what the hell that's doing in there.
Thank you very much. Vacancies, and Suky's been brilliant at putting stuff in for group chat. We've got a tweet here from No, not the Mind Probe, from Dr. Oho. Fabulous story which does well to capture the historic moment in the history of Gallifrey when every single Time Lord had to regenerate into stuffy white guy. Cliff.
I was nearly said that one.
We'll get there in the end, Cliff. We'll get there in the end.
Sorry. Les Ray Jin So Mando Genjutsu by Amy Pond Forever. One of the best, most vital Who eps ever, bringing back the Time Lords and the Master. One of my fave versions. Peter Pratt does it with much menace and is very terrifying. Shrinking people and even putting hatchets in their backs. Poor Runtable. Also, part 3 is like a story on its own, and that clown was even more terrifying than it. So surreal. It even ventures into very prisoner territory. A true work of genius in its own. I also think the Master here inspired Star Wars, Darth Sidious. Oh yeah, could have. Emperor Palpatine manipulating in the shadows.
Go on, Cliff. Amazing.
Boom!
Amazing. Thank you very much, everyone, for your wonderful feedback. Now, to tell you, we're not randomizing our episode that we're going to be reviewing for next month, because it's part of our Time Lord Victorious journey, and it's a Doctor Who adventure with David Tennant, and it's one of his specials, The Waters of Mars, and that's what we'll be reviewing for our next main podcast, because it's part of the Time Lord Victorious saga. Like I say, you will be getting a bonus episode in the next week or two of said Time Lord Victorious saga. The next one up is The Enemy of My Enemy, which is a Paul McGann Big Finish audio, which will be out, like I say, in a week or two. Then we'll be doing main podcast Waters of Mars, and then there'll be more Time Lord Victorious bonus stuff. So thank you very much indeed for listening. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Awesome. Bye, YouTubers.
He didn't do the Benny.
Do you want to do the Bennies?
Oh, fuck. He's got to go fucking back and edit.
Just leave it if you want.
Leave it,
Yeah.
And we
Let's
could
do it.
we not do it as Time Lord Victorious?
Just edit it in. It's not going to kill you.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So, let's stop it. I'm still recording. Cool.
Still recording.
So where does the I'll set it in properly? Listen to. Okay. Thank you very much indeed for that feedback. It's time to vote for this time's Benny. Benny time. Who do we think has been the best host for this episode? Let's vote. Suky, I'll come to you first.
I am actually going to go for Craig because I know he actually doesn't like this story and he stuck to his guns for most of the way through. And I just think that was brilliantly well said, whatever his issues that he had with the story. So I'm going to go with Craig.
Amazing.
Yes, darling.
Cliff, who's your Benny this time?
This week, I'm going to go for Bob. You, Bob.
Oh, thanks,
Because
Cliff.
some great great way that you explained everything and how you more or less will help convince Craig to give it a few extra points. Yeah, I'll go for
Good
you,
one.
Bob.
Good. I mean, I think it's a lot of old fucking shit. But oh, thanks, Cliff. Thanks, John.
Well, I was going to go for you, Bob, but you picked Barbie Girl, and I can't validate that in any way. But I want to. I think I'm gonna pick Cliff, just because he did some reading, and I like it. When he did some reading.
Oh, he did it
It's
quite
practice.
well as well.
He needs a practice. Come on.
I need practice. Yeah.
Well done, Cliff. Well done.
Just moving from Dick and Jane books. Brilliant.
Dog chase ball dog chase. That's one of my favourites, Cliff. I've mastered that one now. Cool. So that's one for me, one for Cliff, and one for Craig. Craig, who are you voting for?
I'm allowed to give it to Aston Lord of Who at Aston Lord of Who for actually having the decency to give it 6 out of 10 on their review.
No.
You can't.
I knew you'd say that. Right, okay. I don't think I'm allowed this one either. I want to give it to each of you, if that's allowed.
No.
In that case, it's Suky. It was going to be Suky because Suky made me, has influenced us to watch the info text. The info text this time made me get an even better appreciation of it on the political side, which began to change my opinion. And then you all shifted my opinion even more so on the rest of the conversation on the Time Lords. So, God, if I can't give it to you all for changing my opinion, I've got to go back to the root of it, which was Suky for making me watch the info text. So thank you, Suky.
No,
fucking hell, Suky's fucking info text. Fuck off.
Well, I put a lot of hard work into those things, you know.
Oh,
Bob.
you didn't you? By just saying.
I just want to point out that I'm the only bastard that hasn't got a vote this week.
Well, actually, John, I was going to actually vote for you. So there you go. So we're all equal.
Look
at that.
We are the one.
No. I was going to vote for John, and I'll tell you for why. His exposition of power and the elite and the corruption
was cracking on it.
Perfect, and I love that.
Yeah. But
no, but
you are.
I thought
we're going to be, and then you are going to be. Oh, nice.
Did I say extra? I didn't mean. I sometimes say extra words.
I assumed you were going to just say that and then just give it to somebody else.
No.
I would do.
This is Benny. It's been nice. It's a nice part of the podcast. It's the only time we really are truly nice to each other. So it's lovely.
Hey guys, I love you all.
Thanks. I love you too, John. I love you all as well.
Go on, Sammy.
All right. Anyway, so
I'm going off you now, Cliff. I'm going off you now, Cliff.
I thought you'd raised up a couple of mil, Cliff.
Can you just slow the camera down a bit, Chip?
I need a magnifying glass.
Right, you bunch of fucking assholes. Shut up. back to normal. Just to let you know, next time we are going to be reviewing The Waters of Mars, the David Tennant episode, because it is part of our ongoing Time Lord Victorious saga reviews. So we'll be reviewing that as our main podcast next month. Before then, though, we will be dropping a bonus Time Lord Victorious. It's the Paul McGann Big Finish audio, The Enemy of My Enemy. But until then, it's thank you very much indeed for listening, and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
You saw that, YouTubers. You saw that. You saw how professional we came back from that near fuck up.
It was.
And thank you for watching, as always.